I was told that you guys have a lot of questions, so I'm here to answer any question you have, however embarrassing, confusing, uh, double sided the question is, and especially if you're embarrassed to ask these questions to your friends or your parents, feel no embarrassment with me. I'm a guy who sits on a red chair, all right? Doesn't get any stranger than that. So let's open the floodgates and let all your burning questions come my way about relationships, how to be happy in a relationship, how to create healthy boundaries in a relationship, how to identify the right partner, how to identify the wrong partner, um, anything that you have experienced in your relationships that has pissed you off or really messed with your sleep or with your peace of mind, or anything at all that just doesn't make you feel good about your life, mistakes you keep making again and again. I'm happy to discuss any and all of that stuff. So yeah, here I am at your disposal. Ram, do you wanna start with the Q&A?
Yes, so first of all, we have collected some questions, like frequently asked ones, and in our sessions as well, since this is our third part, so some questions have been asked quite a lot, so we will start with that. And in the meanwhile, guys, if you have any questions, you can drop them in the comment section and we will surely take it. So I'll start with the first question now.
Go ahead, buddy.
First of all, we will start with the starting only regarding what mindset you should have before getting into a relationship and having the clarity of whether you want to be in one or not. So first question is how to be sure if you're ready to be in a committed relationship or not.
Well, I think a committed relationship is not something you chance upon. It's something you build. It's something that requires the participation of two individuals. So, what was the question again? How do you build a committed relationship? What was the question again? If you could re-explain that to me, Ram.
So it was that how to know that you are ready for a commitment or
Correct.
not in a relationship.
How do you know that you are ready? To be honest, nobody ever knows when they are ready. They kind of discover it. But there are ways to prepare yourself. So it's like asking someone a question: how do you know you're ready to go to the gym? How do you know when you are ready to join a gym membership? You don't. You kind of join the membership, you kind of show up, you do the exercises, you start with a very light weight, and then you sort of increase the weights that you can do. Perhaps you get a trainer, you clean up your nutrition, clarify the types of exercises you're comfortable doing, and perhaps you create a routine. It's the exact same philosophy with relationships. You're never fully ready to be in a relationship because there are always parts of you that are unknown to you. There are always parts of you that are slightly, annoying even to you. There are parts of you that are a little immature. There are parts of you that are a little confused. There are parts of you that are still perhaps dealing with your own past, the baggage of all the expectations you have brought along with you from your school days, your college days, maybe even times where your family has kind of left you out to dry, or they haven't really understood or supported you in the way that you wished they would. So we all bring our expectations of life into a new relationship. So those expectations keep changing based on what we need in the moment. कभी कभी होता है ना, some people say यार आज पिज्ज़ा खाने का बड़ा मूड कर रहा है, या आज यार let's have some Chinese. Similarly, you have different moods for different things you eat. You have different moods for different types of people you greet and who enter your lives as well. So what happens is people tend to overestimate the role of emotions in choosing a partner or in choosing the right time to get in a relationship. But understand, your emotions are like the tides in the ocean. They're very transient. So if you want to be in a relationship, it's less about how you emotionally feel about it, or less about how fully ready you are about it. It's about being very honest with yourself about the goals you have set, that yes, I want to date, yes, I want to get into something serious, yes, perhaps if things go well, if things are smooth, if things are nice, maybe there's an engagement, maybe there's a marriage, maybe there's a live-in relationship if the family is approved, because this is India. Let's not forget, not every family would be particularly open to that idea. So there's a lot of learning, relearning, exploring that takes place when you are preparing yourself for something this important, and rather such a huge milestone, and that milestone is that of a relationship. Having said that, like anything that you do, with time you get better at relationships, the same way you get better at certain types of exercises at the gym, the same way you get better at suppose you're practicing a specific piece of music for a live concert. You got to have your rehearsals, right? Or you got to jam with the band, and then you get better every time you jam. Similarly, with a relationship, it's not something that you hit you fire an arrow and the first thing you hit is a bullseye. No, a lot of arrows that are going to go missing. Some are going to hit the target. Some arrow goes and kills a bird in the tree because you completely missed the target, and that's life. A lot of our approach to living life is scattered, and we tend to blame ourselves or our situations because it's very easy to blame, right? But most importantly, we need to really ask ourselves why we are looking for a relationship. Like, are you just looking for a relationship because you're bored, because you've done watching the latest season of Dark or Stranger Things, so now or kuch nahi ho raha hai, let's get in a relationship? Or are you in a relationship just because you have easier access to sex? Or you're in a relationship because you're very, very lonely? Oh my god, I'm so lonely. You can't stand your own company, that now you need someone else to share the burden, share the load. Or are you in a relationship because all your friends are in a relationship? Or are you in a relationship because only your parents have been sitting on your head, ki abhi karo na, pun intended, alright? So what kind of emotional virus are you inviting into your life if you're not ready? And as I said, you're never ready. The idea is to understand this reality that I'm not fully ready ever, and I probably never will be. But if I want it bad enough, and if I'm willing to be honest about what my intentions are, have some integrity, and be excited about this possibility of growing with somebody, growing old with someone, maybe bringing perhaps a child into this world with that person, if I enjoy the value this person brings to my life, in terms of knowledge, in terms of just good vibes, just in terms of sometimes even motivation. I strongly believe couples should learn to get inspired by each other rather than try to manage and punish each other. So this is, I think, a slightly broader answer to the question, when do you know you're ready? Well, you never know when you're fully ready. It's a decision you have to make regardless of how ready you are. It's like, when do you know you're fully ready to sit for your exam or no? You're never prepared enough. You're never fully ready. And even if you are, there will always be that one question that suddenly comes and you're like, साला यही तो नहीं पढ़ा था और यही question आ गया. अब लगाओ तुक्का, देखते हैं क्या आंसर निकलता है, अंदर से क्या इंस्पिरेशन निकलती है. So that's life. Alright? We're not prepared most of the time, and it's alright. That's perfectly alright. So yeah, that's my answer, Ram.
So I really like the exam analogy. I think it made the perfect sense. So, guys, do you want to have any? If you want to have any follow-up questions, you can unmute yourself and ask as well. I'll move on to the second most answer question. It was how to deal with trust issues in general, but there's one more attached to it. What about if you have had a toxic past with that same person or in your previous relationship? So how to overcome that?
See,
it is kind of a two-road.
Of course, I understand this, Ram. This is a very, very valid question. And this is a question not just guys in your age group have asked me. There are people in their 40s as well. I'm 34 years old. So a lot of people have asked me this question who are close to my age group as well. How do I trust again? How do I trust again? How do I know I'm not making old mistakes? That's the question, right, Ram, if I've understood correctly?
Yes, sir.
Well, the idea is that a healthy suspicion of your environment is normal. In fact, it is a part of your survival instinct for you to not just, put yourself in the line of fire without first examining what are the various attributes of the situation that are going to affect you. Isn't it? It's like how if someone is trying something they've never eaten before, they'll take a small taste and say, यार ये तीखा ज़्यादा है, यार इसमें नमक ज़्यादा डला है, यार थोड़ा something weird about the flavor, no? It tastes very herbal, or it's a little too strong for my palate. So similarly, this is called doing a dipstick. So you're kind of trying out something that you're not familiar with. So yes, Chavi, this is a gaming chair, and I love gaming, but I don't game here. I game in my living room. So okay, coming back to the question, how do I trust again? See, the fact is, people are in this world at least, unless you try out another planet and you're dealing with aliens. In this world, people are opportunistic. People are vulnerable, gullible, naive. People are greedy, prone to corruption, prone to pettiness. People are extremely hostile when you come into the picture and try to tell them, hey, this is not how I think, but this is not how you should think, because this is how I think. Are you understanding what I'm saying? People will force their judgment on you, their plans on you. People will force all kinds of things on you in this world. So it is perfectly okay for you to not immediately trust them and, spread your arms and say, come into my life, become my wife or husband or whatever. So how do you trust again? The fact is, you need to make assessments and reassessments. So even with the same person, they're going to change. Just because you start dating someone when they're 19, you're 19, they're not going to be the same person if you guys manage to reach your mid-20s together. You're like 24, 25. Goals are going to change. Habits are going to change. Friend circles are going to change. Financial circumstances are going to change. Government policy is going to change. So much is going to change. And all that is going to affect the personality of the person who you're with. And then that's why people say, right, oh, how do I trust this person? This person is unrecognizable to me anymore. I don't know who this person is. I don't even know why I'm dating this person. Why? It's because you have not kept track of their evolution. And how do you do that? By talking to each other. Talk to each other. Talk to each other about things that are not superficial. Don't talk to each other only about kya khaya, Netflix pe kya dekha, kahan jana hai, where do you want to travel next, what did you do during Ganpati? It's very, very mundane logistical stuff. Like, when's the last time you asked someone that, hey, if you were trapped on a desert island and you had Wi-Fi, one signal strength of Wi-Fi, what's the first website you would browse? It's a very odd question, isn't it? Ye kahan gaya? Desert island pe Wi-Fi kahan se aa gaya? But it's a very odd question, isn't it? So here's the thing. Ask people questions that they don't expect you to ask them. So you will get to see surprising aspects of their personalities, and that helps you learn more about them. And when you have learned more about a person, only then can you trust them. So Guma Pirake, I came back to trust. The idea is you can never fully trust anyone because they are constantly changing. You can hope to trust them because trust is valuable. Yes, trust is extremely valuable in a relationship, but it needs to be, as I said, constantly worked on. For that, you need to constantly test each other conversationally through the various seasons of life. So ask unique questions to each other. Ask questions to each other that help reveal the inner values. Ask your partner, what does failure look like to you? I don't have to ask it in this formal way. Say, hey, what do you think needs to happen for you to feel like you have failed? Or what is it that needs to happen so that you feel like you're having fun during the day? Or what is the one thing that you would do forever if you could live 100 years and you could do the same thing for all 100 years of your existence? What is that one thing you would do and you don't even need money for it? So this reveals a person's passions, proclivities, fears, anxieties, values. Like, a lot of people are obsessed with doing the wrong thing or wasting time. So this also reveals something about their values. Like, I don't believe anything is a waste of time. I believe everything is an exploration of time. I believe everything is an interaction with time. Because none of us we can control the flow of time. It's like you can't control a river, but you can decide when to put your hands in and wash your hands in the river, or you can dip your feet in and really enjoy the cool stream. Or you can go show up with a ghada, like a big glass like this, and get some fresh river water. But it's about your interaction with the river. River is constantly flowing. River doesn't dry up. So that's time. So when you are together as a couple, even if you're dating for 12 days and not even for a very long time, the time you share with each other is very, very crucial, because it's not the quantity of time, it's the quality of time. And that quality is determined by the types of conversations you have, how superficial those conversations are. Are you only gossiping about each other's friends and families, or only commenting about how the Modi government has not done anything to take care of the coronavirus? Or are you complaining now about the fact that some movie you watched was actually not worth the hype? Are Gunjan Saxena mein pata hai pura fake dikhaya hai, aisa kuch hua hi nahi. Is that all you guys talk about? Really? Talk about things that define you all as a couple, that refine you all as human beings. What trajectory jo hota hai na, that growth path of yours needs to be understood to both of you all. See, you may be experiencing growth in your mind, in your your dreams may change, as I said, at different milestones that you reach. Your milestones will change, But you need to communicate that with each other, because your partner is not a mind reader. Your partner is not supposed to know what your goals and dreams are. So you have to keep talking about these things. So you don't show up for a conversation with your partner and say, Acha, Dr. Aman told me to ask you about your goals. What are your goals? What are your goals? What do you want to do? What is your 5-year plan? That's all a bit creepy, So you got to really slide it in. You got to be very gentle, sort of weave in and out of it. Okay, so it's really about learning to have interesting conversations, insightful conversations, incisive conversations, to really draw out a person's value system, to really draw out what a person wants from themselves, for themselves, and from life.
Again, beautifully answered, sir. So, I think we have one question, but do you think it will be alright to take it right now, or after we have reached to that stage, because we are still in the early?
Up to you. I'll leave it up to you.
Okay, so I think we'll take it after this next question. It will make more sense then. So the third question we have is, a lot of the times when people come into a relationship, they get completely involved in it, and they think whatever we have to do it together. So what is how does giving personal space to your partner come into play here, and you need to realize that as well, so that you are not obsessing over the other person and not letting them live as well, and not living your life as well.
There are some things in our daily routine, Ram, that we do which are privately done, like taking a shower, washing our face, Similarly, in our life, there need to be several moments and several times of the day that are extremely private, whether you're living together or not, whether you're newly dating or a couple that's been dating for many years. The taking and giving of space is a way of showing your partner that I appreciate the fact that you were an individual before I came in your life, and that you will continue to be an individual if I die before you. It's a way of non-verbally saying that I respect your needs. Imagine just going to someone randomly, they're eating food, and you say, "Hi, how's your breakfast? I respect your needs." How weird is that going to be? It's going to be a bit awkward as well. What needs? Khana khane do na, tum bhi kha lo. So there are several ways in which, as a partner, you need to show your you show whoever you're in a relationship with, you have to show them that you care about them. And you can't, imagine if you every 15 minutes give a phone call and say, "I care deeply about you, I love you, you're the best thing that's happened to me, you're so amazing, you've changed my life, you've transformed my perspective, you've given me a reason to live. It's because you have come in my life that now I feel like my life has a more superior meaning." If you go and suddenly drop this Bollywoodized sort of rendition of how you feel on your partner, they're going to be like, "Is this guy coming on a little too strong, or is this guy really needy, or is he read some book that prescribes how you should talk to your woman to make her feel loved? Men are from Mars and women are from Dombivli." I have no idea. All kinds of books out there. Write yourself blank checks. All kinds of mixed and garbled knowledge. So they're also going to be like, "What does he want from me? Why is he being so nice?" So there are many ways in which you need to show that you care. You need to define how nice it is to have that person in your life indirectly. And this is one of the indirect ways in which you need to convey your care. Okay? Are you with me, Ram? Are you understanding what I'm saying out here?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so space is a way of telling the other person that I'm not joined at the hip with you. I know you have your friends, I know you have your hobbies, I know you have your career, I know you have your family, I know you have your bad habits, I know you have your good habits. And despite this entire gamut that you bring with you, I still accept you, I still cherish you, I still look at you as someone who can add value to my life, despite all of that. And I want you with all these things. Not I nitpick, I want only this aspect of you and that aspect of you needs to change and this aspect of you needs to go. I like you as the bundle, as the whole package deal. Isn't it? So I'll give you an example, Ram. There was this couple I know, and I remember the wife was talking to me once, and husband likes to go for long runs, He really enjoys his evening runs. They had a new baby. So I said, hey man, don't you feel possessive about him, being at the house and, helping out? She said, no, he helps out. He does help out. I said, no, but his runs are so long. Ek ghanta he's gone and, you're with the baby and, she's like, even before we had the baby, he was always running. He was going for his runs. This is who he was when I started dating him. And that is who I fell in love with. That's what she says to me, that I fell in love with this guy, the guy who goes for his runs, who has his music practice, who also has his full-time job. He has all these little pockets of entertainment or, self-preservation or, his own personal goals that he has created for himself, which makes him an individual. So she says, I knew all this about him. It's not a surprise to me. So if this is what makes him okay in himself, then that means we as a couple are okay because he's okay. Because understand, the couple is a sum total of two individuals who are feeling okay about themselves. So unless you are very, very comfortable in your individuality, unless you are extremely well placed emotionally and you don't feel the need to be someone else. There's this quote, right, that be yourself, everyone else is taken. So this ability to sort of trust yourself, be yourself, is very important to the concept of taking space and giving space. Because you need to really understand the fact that your own company is the only thing you really take around with you. When we die, no one knows where we go. There are all kinds of theories. We don't take your money, your fancy car, your nice house. You don't even take your reputation with you. All you take is maybe this flesh and bones which decomposes over time. So you need to have a lot more respect for yourself if you're unable to tear yourself apart from your partner. If you don't have anything interesting in your life to do, maybe that's a larger question that you need to ask yourself. Why don't I have interesting things in my life that I can do? Why don't I have pursuits that define me, regardless of whether I'm in a committed relationship or a casual relationship or whatever? Because your pursuits define your trajectory defines your mindset defines your style of life, the way in which you live your life. Are you understanding? So it's all connected. It's all an interwoven web of connections. So yeah, that's my answer.
Oh, yes, sir. We'll come back to the guys. I'll say it again. If you have any leading questions, you can ask as well. We'll take them. So I think the answer to the fourth question will somewhat answer Chavi's question as well in a way, and then we'll take into the slightly aspect. And I think that, in my opinion, would be like that age if you hit and if you don't marry someone, especially in the Indian environment. So our relatives and our elder ones who also have good intentions for us, they start testing us. So is there that component in that question as well? If you read the question.
No, what you are referring to, I think, is social pressure. I think what you're talking about is really that kind of clamping down on your personal freedoms and way of life and saying, chalo chalo abhi settle ho jao. So I personally have a major issue with the term settle. Because that's to imply, what is the opposite of settled? To be unsettled. And what kind of people are unsettled people? Chaotic people, or who are
outside their comfort zone and growing every day.
No, people who are unorganized are told settle down. Like if I have a table full of crap on it and half of that stuff needs to be thrown away, they'll say settle your table. Na, us pe bahut kachra hai. Declutter your table and settle your things on your new desk if you join an office, isn't it? So this settle down concept is a way of perhaps telling the person that you are unsettled and you are incomplete and you will only be complete once you have a husband or a wife or a child. So these are social constructs. These are what your family thinks will make you happy. Because there are certain tried and tested ways in which people have lived their lives. That if you're an adult, you must have a car, a house, some kind of job, maybe some kind of health benefit plan as part of that job, dental insurance if you have teeth problems. So there's an entire, have some Ph.D. mein hona chahiye. So there's a template that adults try to, share and sometimes enforce on their children. But what really happens is everyone's life is a very peculiar beast. Even we don't know when we're going to die. Even we don't know when we'll reach the so-called age of enlightenment or when we're going to figure stuff out for ourselves. because people are stuck within their personalities. They feel that way at least. And then I keep saying this again and again, that we don't inherit our personalities entirely. Yes, some parts of it are hereditary, but a large percentage of it is designed by us, is constructed by us. The same way I chose to buy this gaming chair, it was a choice that I want a red chair. So I have to make a choice as well of what personality attributes suit me well, help me further my goals, and take me towards where I want to go. Isn't it? And no one in society or your family knows what your internal processing is like. So they're going to try to hit you with their ready-made templates. You're a good Indian boy or a nice Indian girl. You have Seema auntie coming in and telling you what you need or what you should ask for or what you should expect. And this is not just for marriage or not just for relationships, this is for everything. People will always have their ideas of how you should conduct yourself, what kind of job you should have, what kind of friends you should have, what kind of hobbies you should have, what kinds of holidays you should take, what kind of what days of the week you should not eat non-vegetarian food on because that makes you purer. क्योंकि chicken खाने से गर्म होता है ना खून. One of the things I've been hearing throughout my life, isn't it? So there are all these pieces of fiction that enter your life and they cause a lot of internal friction. But here's the thing: you got to cross-check that stuff, man, because adults have only been very often recycling a lot of the ideas that they have heard somewhere, instead of injecting new ideas. So I believe every generation recycles a lot of what the older generation has taught them. But here's the thing, a lot of original ideas need to make their way into your life that come from your own intellectual ability to sort of be rational, to be practical. I always tell people, learn from other cultures. Ask yourself, what can I learn from the Spanish? What can I learn from the Japanese? What can I learn from the Chinese? I'll tell you, I've been to all three countries. Okay, I've been to Japan, I've been to Taiwan, I've been to Spain. Every time I travel, and I travel alone, just for fun, for food, all kinds of things. I always, when I'm walking back, I have this little journal I maintain, and I always write about things I've learned. Like I was a corporate man. I was in advertising. I was a producer for TV channels. I came up with creative strategies and promotional strategies for TV shows. And I used to ride myself very hard at a certain point in my career. But after I went to Spain, I realized that the entire country shuts down in the afternoon. The entire country shuts down in the afternoon, especially the Catalan region. You've heard the term siesta, the Spanish word, specifically meant for afternoon nap. So that doesn't mean you spend your entire day sleeping. What am I saying here? What am I saying, Ram? I'm saying it's all right to sometimes take rest. It's all right to sometimes give yourself some time off. And I needed that lesson very badly. I said, Aman, yaar, kabhi-kabhi aaram bhi kiya kar. It's not such a bad thing. ठीक ठाक कर रहा है अपनी life में. You're not doing so badly also, yeah. Compared to where you were a decade ago, you're living in Singapore. You have a nice job. See, our expectations of ourselves are always relative to our experience of ourselves in the past. But that experience is a dynamic thing. It is constantly changing. So the expectations also need to change based on the changing experiences. So one thing I learned from the Japanese is what they say in Urdu is adab. How to be courteous without become एकदम लेट जाना जमीन पे सर आप सबसे बेस्ट हो. That is बोलते हैं लेट जाना. That is basically becoming a doormat. That is not having a spine. But the Japanese, they won't touch you and all that. They'll bow. You know, पैसा भी ऐसे नहीं लेंगे. They won't take notes of money that you give. You always put it in a dish when you go to a restaurant. And they always take it with two hands, not one hand. It's small things like that, you know, and you're like, wow, yeah. पैसे कभी नहीं लेते, because for them it's all about, you have come to our establishment, you have eaten food here. Do pay us, but we're not only in it for the money. So they'll bow to you. They bow, constantly bowing. Some people find it funny, but it's about respect. I respect the customer. And they say the word thank you at least 10 times as a part of a conversation in Japanese. Whenever you leave the restaurant, they'll all shout out thank you, etc. It's amazing. So you can learn so much from the world, from traveling, from people. But if you restrict yourself to only learning from your family or Shah Rukh Khan's movies about love, about life, then your gamut is very, very restricted, isn't it? So you got to expose yourself. You got to assimilate different perspectives. Only then can you realize what your personality really is, not the inheritance, what you have inherited from your parents, but what you are building from scratch, isn't
Yeah.
it?
So let's have a session one more time to discuss this transition if possible of your career. Really.
I didn't understand. You transition process. All right. Well, I would when you do something for 10 years, Ram, you start asking yourself some questions in the eighth year. Firstly, once the money problem has been solved, you've made enough money. You start looking for other things like purpose, and you feel like, is this the best I can do? Is this all I want to do till I die? Uh, is this really all there is to life? And there were some difficult times I went through as well, you know, personally, professionally, uh, which made me start reading books on psychology because I realized that if I want to get better or feel better, I have to invest in myself in a way that I have not been doing so before. पहले क्या होता है, when you're in a bad mood, you meet your friends, चलना चल यार बाहर जाते हैं. Or when you're in a bad mood, you're like, चल यार आज पिज्ज़ा खाते हैं, मज़ा आ जाएगा. Or when you're in a bad mood, you say, चल यार सो जाते हैं, like TV पे कुछ देखते हैं. Or in my case, I love gaming as well. So I would do all these things, but say, yeah, I'm not maybe getting the answers that I wanted. So I started reading again. I used to read a lot when I was in school. And beach mein with career, etc. You don't get much time. Of course, you read on your phone. But, you know, actual books I started reading. And I said, you know, this has, you know, sort of increased my awareness of myself. So I chose a different career because I evolved. My desires changed. What excites me changed with age. When I was your age, Ram, I used to get very excited with the idea of selling things. Like in advertising, you're constantly only selling stuff. I said, how can I get the person in front to really want this product or really want, just based on a few words that I've written? How can I? It's like magic. So then after a point I said, ठीक है बेच के हो गया ना, मतलब अभी Amazon भी आ गया है, because things change also, right? Technology, and you're like ठीक है अभी और क्या बोले, मतलब there's a limited amount of excitement to just selling things. So I said, instead of trying to sell stuff, I want to tell stuff as it is. So when I used to follow a lot of people on YouTube as well, Ram, and I used to feel, why do all of them talk in similar ways? Why do all of them talk about harnessing your inner strength? You must feel the positivity rise from within your bones in order to become one with the universe. I should be like, manje ka hai? Matlab, what the hell does that even mean? I don't even know what in my bones. What has this got to do with my calcium? I mean, I said this stuff doesn't make sense. I mean, a lot of them are talking, write yourself a blank check. I said all these self-help gurus sound like very very inaccessible. Either they're wearing really nice suits, $5,000 suits they're wearing, or they are babas. I said, why is there no one talking to people in a language that they understand so that they stop feeling so miserable and confused? So I said, okay, so I'm going to work from within the system. I had an MBA already. So I said, let me get a Ph.D. in psychotherapy, but let me redefine what it stands for. So people, psychotherapy, very serious business, anxiety, depression, suicide. It is serious business, but that's not all there is to it. There is so much, it's so fun sometimes to, you know, catch yourself in these little traps that we create, you know, in the way we live our lives. It's like we're like mice, you know, running on that wheel. So many patterns, so many habits, and so repetitive in the types of mistakes we make. So that is important for me to study, to teach, and to share with you guys, you know. A lot of people always say, you don't talk like a typical psychotherapist. I'm like, what? That's because you're watching YouTube. That's how they talk on YouTube, you know. You must feel the strength within for it to manifest without. Realize that you were born a winner and will always be a winner if you simply believe it. I'm like, भाई ऐसा तो नहीं होता है. I believe I'm a winner, तो मैं सो गया 4 घंटे. अरे उस 4 घंटे में थोड़ी काम करो, मेहनत करो. People say I can't find a relationship that works for me. I can't find it. I say, okay, don't find it. Build it. Build a relationship that works for you. Find कहाँ? Bumble पे, Tinder पे. वहाँ relationship थोड़ी मिलते हैं, वहाँ candidates मिलते हैं. Candidates के साथ आप बात करोगे. You speak to them, you interact with them, and then you see whether you can convert them, isn't it? What is it? It's an advertising platform. So you will change as well over time. What I was when I was 21, 20, very different from how I am 34. I'm a lot more patient. I'm a lot more observant. पहले सिर्फ बात करो. I was not interested. तुम क्या बोल रहे हो? हाँ तुम बोल रहे हो. Blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear what I'm saying. When you're younger, you feel invincible. You feel like you have all the answers. And then you reach a slightly older age and you realize मेरे को कितना कम मालूम था लेकिन बकता कितना ज़्यादा था मैं confidence के साथ. Isn't it? It happens. It'll happen with. Remember, I've said this. Then come back to me 10 years later and say, "How did you know?" I'll say, "हाँ." You realize after you've lived a little longer कि सबके साथ होता है. It's not just about relationships. It's about career as well. It's about life, about family. You will make some mistakes, so be prepared for those. It's fine.
It was really interesting, sir. And ये कितना बकता था that so I say to myself every year
अरे बाप रे.
whenever I get to know about sir, it's not very audible.
या राम. मेरा नाम तुम्हारा राम है तो मतलब बाकी सब तो लंका जाएंगे और क्या.
Okay. So we have one or two questions. Let's answer them first.
राम जी है यहाँ पे तो हनुमान जी भी होंगे और कोई है? नहीं है. अच्छा चलो ठीक है बोलो. मेरे
सीता जी का सेशन है वैसे.
कौन है? सीता जी भी है यहाँ पे? कहाँ है?
नहीं सेशन इन जनरल उसमें.
अच्छा तो मतलब मुझे रावण बनना पड़ेगा ना. लाल ऐसे I'll have like 10 heads, isn't it? So let's have some fun. All right, guys. Seriously, don't hesitate to ask me questions. I think it's fun to understand how we are all so patterned. That's why I'm constantly smiling because for me this is good fun for me to share things with you guys. So don't hesitate. Okay, I will not say what a stupid question. You know, my teachers used to say this to me. What a dumb question. What a stupid question. Or this favorite word of all Indian teachers. You're a duffer. Come on now. सब अपने अपने दर्द से गुजर रहे हैं यार. सब confused हैं. सब थके हुए हैं. At the end, everyone wants to have some chai and relax. So let's be kind to each other. No judging each other. So yeah.
So someone asked that do you have a YouTube channel? So
yeah, I do. I do. It's Dr. Aman Bhonsle. Just go there. I upload.
Yeah, we share all the links to Sir's handle. He's very active on YouTube as well, and it's a really nice channel. I checked it out.
Yeah, check it out. See, I've shared it in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next question.
Yeah.
It is what if after some point of time your relationship becomes toxic and it starts affecting you? So I'd like to add one more thing here. We had a dedicated session on identifying red flags. So with identifying basically whether your relationship is toxic or not. So finally, first of all, can you give a brief definition of a toxic relationship according to you in a minute or two, and then we'll switch on to the rest.
See, I would say a toxic relationship is a relationship where after being in it for some time, you stop feeling like yourself. It affects your schedule, it affects your social relationships, it affects your mood, it affects even your ambition towards life. So, you know it's toxic if you realize that यार इस relationship में जब से मैं उतरा हूँ, तब से I am feeling low, angry, guilty, tired. तब से I started lying a lot more. Lots of jhoot. I have lost out on a lot of friends. I have stopped doing things that I enjoy. It's like I've known guys who loved sports, but now because their girlfriend wants to talk to them, they've stopped going out to play sports with their friends because she says you never have time for me. Or the guys have stopped meeting their female friends because the girlfriend has insecurities. Or the girl is expected to turn into his mother because he has certain insecurities that he's carrying about his own life or job. She wants to go and meet her friends and he says, no, I had a fight with my colleague and I need someone to talk to. So this tendency to turn your partner into your therapist, please don't do that. Your partner will get very tired and bored, So you might as well go to a professional. Yeah, of course, it will cost you some money, but then so there's a gym membership. So the way I see it, I mean, it's really up to you, isn't it? What you want to do to get back into your center. So a toxic relationship is like anything that is toxic. If you eat food that is toxic, you get poisoned. If you are in a toxic relationship, you also get emotionally poisoned. You start believing that you are no good. You start believing you will never get any better. You start believing that this is the worst phase of your life. You start believing that there is no hope in the future for you. You start believing that all of life is one big and gigantic compromise. You start believing all these unhelpful and self-ostracizing things. And there's a lot of pain. There's a constant sense of pain. It's like, imagine this. I always say, I give this analogy. I say, you're carrying around a bag of rocks. Okay? You don't know why you're carrying those rocks. You don't even know why someone put rocks in a bag. But you're constantly carrying it. And every time you take that bag off your shoulder, suddenly you feel very light. You're like, "Arey baap re, maza aa gaya. Oh. You know, this is so good. This is so relaxing." So every time you are not around your partner, if you feel like you have taken off a bag of rocks and you suddenly feel like, I can breathe now, then you're probably in a toxic relationship. These are some ways to identify it. In a very broad way. I've kept it broad deliberately.
Okay, so moving on to the question. So, what if you identified that you are in a toxic relationship? So, what to do after it?
Well, you have three
And
options, isn't it? You have
yeah,
like three lifelines in KBC. Either you end the relationship, or you adjust to the relationship, isn't it? Or you try to change something inside you and see whether you are willing to save it. So, do you want to adjust and be miserable? Do you want to save it? Or do you want to exit it? These are your three options. So, you have to always ask yourself which one seems the most exciting to you. If you feel like, yaar, bahut ho gaya, I'm not feeling love, not feeling anything, I'm feeling disgusted, you know, then obviously maybe it's time to exit the relationship and you sort of get that person out of your life. If you feel like, nah, yaar, I can save it because this person is otherwise very, very good to me, is very kind-hearted. But yes, he's going through a difficult time with his family. There's some property dispute, or he's been laid off, or you know his mother is a extremely controlling woman. So then you will find ways to save it. Maybe something in you needs to change. Maybe you all need to show up for couples therapy. Or the third option is you keep your mouth shut and you adjust and you say, मेरी फूटी किस्मत की मैंने ये रिलेशनशिप में अपने दोनों पैर डाले और अब मैं डूब गई हूँ या मैं मर चुका हूँ अंदर से. So it really depends on how you feel about where you would like to navigate this relationship, isn't it? Because some amount of navigation is required for you to make, and obviously your partner will have to cooperate, otherwise तुम ही अकेले navigate कर रहे हो, you know, so it gets complicated then. So your relationship has to be piloted by you, has to be navigated by you, but yes, it requires a two-pronged approach. Your partner will also have to bring something new and fresh and interesting, and you'll also have to inject some new flavor to the relationship for it to start feeling exciting to you again, isn't it?
yes, absolutely. Guys, if you have any questions, drop in. So, I have two more questions. Now, one is from one of our followers only. Her question is, should we share everything with a significant other, or if we want to really put in emotional feelings to ourselves, and if we do that, will it affect the relationship negatively, or is it even ethical? I think one should have a personal space, but sometimes it isn't liked by the other.
See, sharing everything is never a good idea. It's like dumping your entire saman on someone, suddenly just throwing a big bag at them. Here, catch! They may not have the ability to catch your heavy bag. Just because you're in a relationship with them doesn't mean that they have the emotional stamina required to sit through hours and hours and hours of you cribbing about how your father always gave more preference to your brother and didn't care about you because you were a girl. So he's not going to want to listen to it for 3 hours, but he's like, अरे यार इसको नहीं सुनूंगा तो फिर अलग गालियाँ मिलेगी. Then some guilt he feels maybe, oh no. So all kinds of baggage that you dump on your partner, you know, whether it's the truth or whether it's your personal issues, it's important to know that your partner isn't your therapist. I'll say this again. Yes, you have to discuss significant events with each other. Yes, if you're having a really difficult time, of course you should discuss that with your partner. But if all your discussions are only about cribbing about life or what a difficult time I'm having, then your partner is at one point also going to feel like, yeah, I can't do this. They may not say it to you, but then they'll slowly start avoiding your calls or saying I'm busy, or maybe just taunting you कि यार over emotional, you're always हर चीज़ को तुमको एक अलग level पे लेके जाना होता है, you overthink too much. So everyone will has an opinion about you. So how much information we make available to them is going to inform that opinion. It is going to sway that opinion, whether you like it or no. This has nothing to do with whether you like it or not. Yes, that opinion is dynamic, like most things in life are, and that opinion is based more on your track record than your opinions. So anything you want to tell to your partner, put it in a holding area first. Holding area होता है ना जहाँ things are kept temporarily. Ask yourself whether it's absolutely essential that you talk about how your boss told you that your email had typos to your partner, or is it absolutely essential that you call up your partner because you lost your wallet instead of going to the police station or trying to figure it out. So are you one of those people who, as I said, turns your partner into your therapist or your parent? Then definitely in that case sharing all information is not ideal, because as I said, you are burdening them, you are tiring them, and they may not even have the courage or the insight to know that they are being affected by this constant tirade from your side. But one day they may suddenly explode and say, I can't do this, man, I'm going mad. Or they may say something very, very unrelated to you, or at a time when you are least expecting it, saying, listen, stop being so oversensitive about everything. You're very oversensitive about whether we should have a masala dosa or a cheese dosa, the way you're oversensitive about how your mother is always talking to you. You'll say something like that in passing and she'll be like, did you just talk about my mother? And then you're done. Khatam, sleep on the couch for a very, very long time. Alright? Ram will bless you from far away. Okay, so be very careful what you share. This whole thing of we share everything, there are no secrets between us, is ridiculous. Of course, there is something called privacy, and in service of your privacy, you're going to have to keep some healthy secrets. I've noticed this, some partners will put pressure on their partner for details of their sex lives with their previous partners. How did he like it? How did he do it? What did he do to you? What did you do? But that's your private life. You don't have to talk about every news. The first time we had sex, he was on top. No one expects you to give those details, especially when you're being interrogated, yeah. So you don't have to share everything about your life. Of course not. Keep some things to yourself, because at the end it's a game of perception management. It's a game of relationship management based in perception management, based in mindset management, which comes under the umbrella called self-management. Okay?
Okay, so I had received a personal message regarding the previous question we had. It was, what if, like you decide that yes, it is a toxic relationship and it is not worth working, but the other person was very much involved in it, and they start giving you a guilt trip and it starts affecting you internally.
Well, they giving you a guilt trip is a choice they make. It affecting you is a choice you make. So it's really a question of your personal clarity with a certain situation. So suppose you break up with someone and you know why you broke up, but just because you are not sure that you बाद में फिसल जाओगे, emotional हो जाओगे, I always suggest people to create a charge sheet only for themselves. In that charge sheet, write 10 reasons why you broke up with that person, and every time that person calls, keep that piece of paper in front of you. It's a bit old school. Maybe a Microsoft Word document. Don't have to print it out. Save the damn trees. All right. You can just look at it. Every time that person calls you up, you say, "Oh, these are the 10 reasons." Acha, 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 acha. Okay. I'm sorry for your situation, but I'm no longer in your life. I hope you find a therapist who you like, or a solution that you adapt to. So it's about creating a distance with that person. The whole concept that you can be best friends even after you've broken up, it doesn't work for at least 1 year after your breakup. I believe that 1 year gestation is required, especially if you were together for a very long time. Don't try to mix the roles up, isn't it? Otherwise, you're doing a gross disservice to yourself and to that person. You're not being able to move on, nor you're letting that person move on. So if someone is guilt tripping you, oh, I will do something to myself, oh, this, that, you say, look, I'm not interested in drama. I'm ready to move on, and When you are ready, you move on. But I'm no longer a part of that process because I've clearly made it very, very crystal clear to you that I'm out. Remember these two words: I'm out. Very simple words. You don't have to say I am breaking up with you because you're an obnoxious species. No, you just say I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. Economize on your words. Okay, lamba lamba explanation doge, so that tells your partner that you are like begging, oh no, listen to me. I don't want to be with you, but I'm still very nice. Obviously, they're going to hate you for not giving them what they want. So you have to be okay being hated. If you want what you want. Secret of life. If you want to get what you want, you have to be okay with being hated. A lot of people are going to hate you for wanting what you want. Your family, your friends, your partner, your teachers. They're all going to hate you. Saying this is not good for you, this is not right for you, you don't have it in you. अरे भाई तुमको मालूम है तुमको क्या चाहिए कि दुनिया बताएगी. अकेले आए थे अकेले जाओगे ना यार. कब जाओगे क्या मालूम. So be answerable to yourself. Everyone else is going to distract you from your goals. Stick to your goals. Stick to your path. And the rest will follow.
First of all, Mahima, thank you for the question. I think it will be accommodated in the next question I'm about to ask, and if not, we'll take that into consideration as well. So the next question what I've been asked is, also there is this issue of dependency, as in how much dependent emotionally and otherwise should be on the other person. Is it necessary to talk every day and does it even matter? I mean, it's possible that I care about that other person, but the loss of touch for a very long time have detrimental effects too. One might not like talking over phone or text and prefer contacting the person in person, and this can have detrimental effects over a period of time, especially in this lockdown period.
See, there's nothing wrong with wanting to spend physical time, one-to-one time, private time, couple time with someone you care for. But having said that, during the lockdown, it's technically still not fully safe. You're still not out of the woods yet.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Because of the virus and, the whole concept of the invisible carrier and the touch contamination, etc. Plus comorbidities that maybe you don't know you have, but maybe you've developed them over time. So it's dangerous. Of course it's dangerous. But the fact is that the way I'm talking to you guys, it's very intimate, right? It's a video call, you can see my face, nothing is CGI, okay? It's necessary to definitely necessary to touch base with your partner, but this doesn't mean that every evening you have a 4-hour phone call. It can be a 10-15 minute call also, saying, hey man, how you doing, just checking in, thought about you, you're on my mind, and let's connect for a longer call. Or it's important to also schedule time for each other. That shows the person you respect them, and you respect the fact that they may want to do things that don't involve you. Maybe they have a catch up on Zoom with their old school friends. Maybe there's a new movie released on an OTT platform that they want to watch. Maybe they have a exercise ritual. Maybe they have to cook, clean. Maybe they have to spend time with certain members of their family. So you have to appreciate the fact that you are going to exit and enter each other's lives at different times of the day. But yes, that exit and entry needs to be scheduled, negotiated, and it needs to be there. Definitely. Can be 10 din baat nahi kiya, and then suddenly you come back saying, hey, I'm back. Person's going to be like, I don't feel it anymore. Whatever. You want to disappear and play hide and seek. Then guess what? Time for me to hide since you were hidden. Of course, you don't say it like that. You don't taunt them. Because then that's going to make them go away from you. So I strongly do feel that yes, there have to be certain involvements that you all have in each other's life, but this doesn't mean you'll take over each other's schedule, or every waking minute you're like on WhatsApp talking to each other about what I did now, what I ate now, who I met now. Or nowadays sending screenshots. हर चीज़ थोड़ी बतानी होती है यार. Keep some space for yourself. It's very healthy to have those boundaries. Believe me.
Yes, thank you. So, can you, sir, shed light on Mahima's question as well? I didn't quite get it, to be very honest. So,
which one? Tell me
the
again.
question is, should there be holding factors in a long-distance relationship?
Should there be what factors?
Holding factors.
What is a holding factor?
That is what I didn't get. Mahima, can you explain that?
Yeah, what is a holding factor?
my interpretation would be the things that hold you back since you are in a relationship, long distance relationship. So, should there be any external pressure or foundations set by your partner that are holding you back?
No,
Maybe this could be.
why create pressure at all in a relationship? Hold each other in long distance relationship. Hold each other. You know what is? I'm imagining that you've held someone in a jail cell or something. I don't like the concept of holding each other. What are you holding each other? Like you're in some kind of a holding area, is it? So, it's a you have decided to share something. Mahima, when you're in a relationship, you have decided to share something. No one has held anyone in any position of accountability by zabardasti. You have chosen to be accountable. You have chosen to be available. You have chosen to be interested. You have chosen to be exclusive to each other. So you're not seeing each other, seeing someone else on the side. These are all choices. So if you have chosen that you want to be with somebody emotionally, but not have physical access to each other, so you can't kiss, you all can't have sex, you all can't meet up for a cup of coffee, you all can't play board games together, you all can't cuddle each other on the couch and watch a movie. If you are okay with these things, I mean, then I guess you're okay with these things. No one outside can tell you what you're okay with, right? I, for one, personally have tried long distance, and I would, as a personal admission, I would say it's a huge challenge. It is a huge challenge unless there is a deadline to it that okay, it's only a question of 6-7 months, and then either she will be moving back or he will be moving there, or there is some issue related to visas or passports, or so if it's a temporary situation, they cannot meet, it will become long distance because of the lockdown, then certain adjustments need to be made. But long distance over 5 years, 4 years, yeah, this is not your life. Unless your life is like the movie Veer Zara, I would suggest that have a very difficult but necessary conversation with your partner about what you need. You know, we wait around for 15 years क्योंकि तो सच्चा प्यार है तुम्हारा. Time is valuable, yeah. People change. So you don't have to hold yourself accountable to anything that you all don't want to be accountable for. So talk about these things. If you're uncomfortable, you're uncomfortable. There's no sugarcoating discomfort. It's what it is, isn't it?
Sorry, Mahima, did we get it right? Like, does this answer your question, or do you have something to say?
बोल दो महिमा, राम जी पूछ रहे हैं, जरूरी है, आशीर्वाद मिलेगा.
Okay. So, if you don't have any other questions, do you want to share any personal experience of yours regarding a relationship or a big mistake you made, and that would teach us in like our age group, 18 to 21? Any piece of advice, like, or any other piece of advice?
Okay, I'll give you a generic piece of advice, which I believe is actually, I'm calling it generic, but it's very, very important. Please don't ignore your friends when you're in a relationship, guys, because your friends are your support system, especially through difficult times in your life. So and especially a girl or guy who wants you to not be friendly with your friends is a huge red flag. Probably the biggest red flag there is. Because in a way they are trying to extract you from from your social circle and have some kind of exclusivity over you. And when you have exclusivity over a person, it's like you have emotionally enslaved them. Psychologically, उन्होंने आपको मुलाजिम बना दिया है. So that is very dangerous. So don't ignore things about your life, like your friends, your health, your fitness, your hobbies, even your career is such an important part of your identity, such a huge part of who you wish to become in the future. Some people say, I sacrificed my job, I sacrificed my relationship with my father to be with this girl. Understand that if you have someone for whom you're having to give up everything that makes you, then what have you really done? You have turned yourself into someone you're not. And believe me, acting like you're someone else in front of your partner can only hold up for a limited amount of time, because घर लौट के Al Pacino भी Al Pacino ही होता है, वो कोई अलग आदमी नहीं बनता. It's only what he brings to the screen. So when you're with a person, understand you're not giving some kind of screen test. You don't have to constantly prove who you are. Who you are should already be known to the person. So within that context, if there are things about your personality that are annoying, or they're very immature, or you yourself should also know that, yeah, this is something about me that is a bit maladjusted. So I need to look at it. And if your partner gives you feedback, you should take that feedback. But be very careful of partners who say they're giving you feedback, but actually are trying to attack your dignity, or trying to, as I said, extract you away from things that make you a unique individual or make you complete. So this is some generic advice I would give you. Okay, and please go out on dates, experiment with each other. I'm not talking about sexual experimentation. Ram, I wonder what has happened. Ram, you're okay, right? You'll still give me your ashirwad, no, if I talk about these things.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, ऐसा हाथ ऊपर करो, Ram. I can't see you anyway. All right. Here's the thing: experiment with each other. When I say what I mean by this, let me very clearly. Experiment conversationally with each other. As I said, don't talk only about predictable things. Talk about unpredictable things. Try to force each other in unfamiliar topics to really see how a person, how spontaneous is a person, how authentic they are, how intuitive are they, how intelligent are they. Because these are the qualities that are very good to have in a partner. Someone who doesn't freeze every time there is a problem. Because if you want to be with someone, you want someone who's solid, so you guys can go toe to toe with each other. ये नहीं कि एक पार्टनर दूसरे पार्टनर का गुलाम हो गया तो भीख मांग रहे एक दूसरे से. You, I beg you for love. The other person says, I beg you for solutions. Then you say, I beg you for money. Then the other person says, I beg you to come for this function with me. नहीं तो लोग पूछेंगे, where is your wife? तो ये भीख मत मांगो यार. Life को साथ में enjoy करो. That's what it's about. It sounds very simple, but it's not. We like to complicate things as human beings. So try to uncomplicate your life.
So thank you for the wonderful advice. We have one question from Shashwat. He says, good afternoon, sir. How to efficiently convey your thoughts and feelings in a relationship which might not sound emotionally or politically correct, as in how to deliver such feelings with striking naturally in a manner that you are understood rather than judged.
See, don't drop a bomb on people. Basically, don't just suddenly talk about important things without preparing the person. You first tell them, hey man, do you have some time? I have something crucial I would like to chat about. So I need to know when you have a good half an hour, 45 minutes to give me. Because it's something that's been disturbing me. And so you first prepare them, create a background. Then when you talk to them, don't talk in an accusatory manner. You are like this, you are so and so, you don't understand, you are careless, you are forgetful, you don't know what you do to me, and that is been disturbing. See, when you say you, it's like machine gun fire. Talk in a way, say, I feel misunderstood, or I feel confused when you behave in this manner. I feel neglected, or I feel afraid. Talk about the real emotion that you're going through, instead of trying to make the other person feel like they are the ones who have caused all the trouble in your life. So be gentle, have a gentle approach, slide it in. Of course it takes it takes practice, but see your partner as your collaborator, not as your competition. See your partner as someone you'd like to share things with, not as someone you want to teach things to. See your partner as someone you want to grow with, not someone who needs to grow because you have finished all the growing on your part. So these are a few tips for you.
I hope it answers the question, Joshua. Guys, if you have any question, drop it in the other 2 minutes. Okay, we have one question. And guys, drop in the question soon, and we will be ending so that we can end the session. Ankush says, good afternoon, sir. How can the situation of your partner's self-righteousness or I am right, even when they are not, how to have that conversation?
So, well, very difficult to convince people something that they are not ready to be convinced about. You will need a mediator. So you will need a counseling session. Definitely, I would recommend that. Because if someone doesn't believe they can be wrong, how are you going to convince them? It's not possible. The only time you can convince them is if they have a shadow of a doubt, saying, "Oh, maybe I haven't figured it out as much as I thought I have figured it out." So a little bit of self introspection, जिन लोगों में होता है ना, it's a lot easy to talk to them. But those who say, I can't do any wrong, I am smart, I got these many marks in my 12th standard, and you don't know, my mother also says that he's the smart son, the other son is whatever, the useless one. So, people who believe they can never do wrong, even if they make a mistake, they'll say, yeah, so what? I didn't have all the facts in front of me. Galti to insaan se hoti hai na. So that arrogance permeates everything they do. So if you're dealing with someone very arrogant, understand that it's very hard for them to change unless someone proves to them logically that their arrogance is costing them, or a part of them even realizes that yes, I'm extremely arrogant. Yes, a part of them may realize that that I'm not who I say I am, or I'm not as smart as I think I am, or I haven't got all these things right as I said I have. So self introspection is a quality that I think needs to be taught very often. This is why people go to places like Vipassana, etc. Because it's all about self introspection. It's all about understanding who you really are. आप कितने पानी में हो? आप 3 फुट पानी में खड़े हो या आप 10 फुट पानी में तैर रहे हो? That's the question, isn't it?
We have one more question, and I hope Ankush that answers your question. Tejal asks, okay, so Ankush has a follow-up question. He says that this talk takes about 1 hour every time, and this messes him up.
Well, if solving problems messes you up, then I don't think you're ready for a relationship, buddy. Very sorry to say this. It's like if you are scared of weapons, you can't join the army. If you are extremely fat, you can't get into any athletic sport. You won't make the team. So that's very sad that you are so averse to conflict resolution, my friend, because adulthood is really all about conflict resolution. Whether you're troubleshooting your personal finances or your social life or your family life or your relationship with your partner, troubleshooting is a large part of adulting. All right, and that's a large part of your daily activities as well. So you better make your peace with troubleshooting. 1 hour or 2 hours. It's not going away anytime soon.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. He says one more thing. No, like it continues every time, every day for like it, and it has been continuing for like 5 months.
Well, then ask yourself whether you're willing to be in this situation or not. Really, it boils down to that, isn't it? If someone is completely obtuse or someone is completely closed to the idea of feedback or change or evolution, then maybe you're going to have to take some difficult decisions. It's a choice. Everything's a choice. They have chosen to say, hey, I don't need to do this. So you may also choose whether you would like to continue down this road or not. Why do people not break up? Have you ever asked yourself this question? It's because they're habituated to their partner. It's like quitting a cigarette. It's like quitting a certain food group. It's like going on a gluten-free diet. You need your bread and butter, but you can't have it. You want to have your sev puri outside the office or in the canteen, but you can't have it. So first few weeks you'll go mad. Same thing with relationships. If someone is, now we use the word toxic in the beginning, if someone is toxic to your sense of peace, or is stealing, or I call some people time thieves. They literally are robbers of your time, your precious time that you have in the day to do things that make you happy. So if they're time thieves, then you have to learn to change the combination of your vault, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so we have 2 more questions. Cecil asks, how does one deal with insecurities in a relationship? I would like to ask one more question. So, are these insecurities from your side? So, are you being insecure or the other person is being insecure? Because both can happen.
Ram, both can happen. You can be insecure as an individual. You can be insecure as a couple. But insecurities are a way of saying that I haven't figured this out, or I don't like myself very much, or I don't like how this is progressing very much. So it's very important to ask yourself some very direct and burning questions about where you see yourself going. That's what causes insecurity. Is a lack of comes from a lack of self-knowledge. Insecurity comes from a lack of planning and self-direction. So you need to ask yourself a very simple question. Why am I insecure? What exactly is making me insecure? Am I insecure about this person specifically, or am I insecure about something in life And I've been insecure about this even when I was 14 years old, and even now when I'm 21 years old. So you have to understand a history of what makes you insecure in general, isn't it?
Yeah. So we have one more question. Quickly asked, how to approach someone you like, especially if that person is a close friend, and uh, there are chances that they like you back.
Talk about it to them, yeah. You just have to. I mean, it's not very difficult, like you can create a bit of a background so you don't drop a bomb on them. As I always say, don't drop bombs. See, people don't like being surprised very often. As much as surprise birthday parties are different from surprise conversations. So you say, hey, there's something that's on my mind. I would like to talk to you about it. It's something very important to me, and again, ask for their time. Say whenever you're free, and then you say, hey, man, I kind of feel like there's something growing between us that goes beyond the conventional definition of just being friends. Maybe there's a little bit of this warmer, softer feeling that's growing in me towards you, an attraction of some kind. And let's do you want to explore it further? What do you think about that? Like I'm being open about my feelings to you. Any questions you have for me, or anything that is exciting you about this. So it's about it's about a conversation, but not I love you. Don't like suddenly. You know what I mean? It's you have to gently ease it in. Don't suddenly show up and have a poem that's going to take 20 minutes for me to recite about your looks. Go easy, yaar. People also are scared. It's naya pyar hota hai, so it's usually. But say, hey, you know what? I kind of like you. I feel great when I'm around you when we talk. And I would like to know if you feel the same way, so we know which way to head, either together or we head, in divergent directions. One way or the other, we head somewhere. So this is what I feel. Cards are on the table. So it's very nice to have your cards on the table. Don't try to disguise it, saying, ask my friends also. I only talk about you. Why should you have to ask your friends? You're sitting in front of that person, na? So dar ke mat baat karo. Or don't have this mindset, I'm the girl, he's the guy, he's supposed to come and ask me. But stop watching so many Disney movies, okay? Anyone can ask anyone. If you feel it, you want to pick the first step, go ahead and do it. ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता, I'm the girl, so I will wait, he's the guy, so he should. He may be a very shy guy, you may be a very outgoing girl. Isn't it? स्वभाव भी तो कोई चीज़ होती है, personality भी कोई चीज़ होती है, so give each other some time and space, यार. Isn't it? And have the conversation face to face, over a video call or in person. ऐसे WhatsApp पे मत करो यार छिछोरी बात. I feel, what the hell, man? ये तुम्हारा प्यार है, इमोजी वाला प्यार. इजहार करो यार, खुल के करो, कुछ नहीं होता.
I guess that answers your question. Ankush, Sejal, Vidhi,
Alexa, stop! Guess what I did? I'm trying to turn my Alexa off. It's giving me an alarm. Just hold on a second. Alexa, stop! My Alexa refuses to turn off. So yeah, sorry.
No problem, sir. So that was it from our side regarding the questions. So anything last positive motivation you want to give us to pursue our relationship, those who are at this stage, and then we wrap it.
Be completely okay with falling flat on your face till your nose looks like Michael Jackson's nose. First rule of dating. You're going to fall flat on your face so many times. You're going to embarrass yourself, say dumb things. You're going to be weird. You're not even going to know how to kiss properly or how to conduct yourself physically around the opposite sex. Even when you have consensual sex at a certain stage of your relationship, it's going to be weird and messy. So be okay with that, because believe it or not, everyone figures relationships out at different speeds in different ways. Because everyone's cultural conditioning, social conditioning is very different. How their families have treated them when they were growing up is such a huge factor in how they see man-women relationships and what they bring to the table. So put down your bag of rocks. It's a beautiful, crazy, scintillating, but sometimes very dizzying chapter that you're going to enter when you're in a relationship. There's a lot of pain, a lot of heartbreak. Listen to Coldplay. after you've had a breakup. No harm. Okay. And definitely don't feel like you're alone. And please don't do something stupid like trying to attempt to hurt yourself or kill yourself. Because believe it or not, every difficult chapter in our life, I believe this, that every difficult chapter in our life enters our life to teach us something about ourselves or about life. So don't be scared, man. Don't be scared. It's all right. You're going to be extremely vulnerable. You're going to be extremely scattered in your approach, and that's okay. That's completely okay. Everyone has been scattered in their approach, including your parents, including me, everyone. As we grow older, we stop being as scattered, but I believe everyone is scattered in their approach. Because emotions are a very volatile and unpredictable thing. It's like boiling water. कितना bubble निकलेगा, कितना steam निकलेगा, उसकी कोई सीमा नहीं है. सीमा आंटी नहीं है. समझे?
Thank you so much, sir. It was really a pleasure talking to you. And
Thank you, voice of Ram. Voice of Ram. वनवास से आ गए राम जी. I'm sorry, I keep
Thanks.
teasing because I have not spoken to somebody called Ram in a very long time. It's a very lovely name, by the way. I like short names. But if you go abroad, they'll call you Ram.
I've been called that.
Yes, exactly.
So, thank you so much, sir. It was really a pleasure talking to you, sir.